Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do my October wrap-up. So in my wrap-ups, I do a little bit of stats and then tell you a little bit about each of the books I read and what the star rating was for them. But I talk about them extensively in my vlogs. I vlog every single day, and so if you want to hear more of my thoughts, I will link the playlist to all of my vlogs, and you can see a lot more thoughts in detail. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to kind of go through them quick, give you my star ratings, and move on. So I read 31 books in October, and that just mind boggles me. I think in September I read like 16, but this month I read some graphic novels, and I just kind of got in the mood again. So 31 books. So I'm going to be especially quick this month, just so this isn't a 45-minute video. So as for stats, I read 1 2.5 star book, 11 3-star books, 5 3.5 star, 9 4 stars, 2 4.5 stars, and 3 5 stars. 3 5 stars. So that's a total of 31 with an average of 3.65 rating. The Goodreads average is 4.2. So in general, I read things that everybody likes a little bit more than I do, or else they're a little bit more generous in star ratings. But overall, I read some good stuff. So publication year, I didn't read anything published before the year 2000. I read 6 for the 2000s to 2010s. 6 for 2010 to 2015, 10 for 2015 to 19, and 9 2020 books. So NetGalley is a huge reason for that, but we'll get into it. I read 21 different publishers, so that is a lot of different publishers. 3 I got from Libby, 7 from Hoopla, which honestly, you guys, we only get 5 Hoopla loans, but I borrowed my husband's login, so I got some of his. So 7 from Hoopla, 3 from Scribd, which was crazy. Normally I only get 1 or 2. 4 from Kindle Unlimited, 4 physically from the library, 4 from Audible, and 6 from NetGalley. So again, all of those that I got digitally through Libby or whatever, I also, not all of them, but I have a lot of them physically, so I would go back and forth when I can, but the majority was digital reading. I read 16 off my shelf and 15 not on my shelf. So normally I like to do more off my shelf than not, but this month with the ARCs and then book club and graphic novels, it's more evenly split. So I think that's it for the stats. Let's just go ahead and get into the books. So the first book I read was The Woman I Was Before by Carrie Fisher. This was a NetGalley ARC, and I gave it 4 stars. It's about 3 women who all are living kind of an Instagram life and then a real life with secrets and that kind of thing, and I loved seeing that juxtaposition, so I really enjoyed that. Next is The Christmas Wish by Melinda Curtis. This is a novella that is included in the bind-up with Annie Rain's Seasons of Joy. And so this one was a 3-star. Seasons of Joy by Annie Rain's was a 4-star. One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. I gave that a strong 4 stars. That is about a girl who is plus size and she gets chosen as the next kind of bachelorette. Then I read Christmas on Reindeer Road by Debbie Mason and gave that 3 stars. It's about a woman who goes with her 2 stepsons back to her hometown. She's a widow, and so she goes back with them. They're kind of crap heads. She meets this guy who's also a single dad, and it's a lot of custody stuff and good Christmas atmosphere, though. A Christmas to Remember by Jenny Hale. I give that 3.5 stars. That's about a nanny who goes in and takes this position and kind of overhauls the family a little bit. And the dad's a workaholic, so she wants it to be a Christmas to Remember where he actually interacts with his kids. Then I read number 5 and 6 in Lindsay Kelk's I Heart series. I read I Heart London and I Heart Christmas. I gave both of those 4 stars. Then I read the Enneagram Type 3, The Successful Achiever by Beth McCord. This one I expected to be a deeper dive into the Enneagram Type 3, which is, I believe, what type I am. However, what it was more of like journal prompts and things to kind of help you think through things as an Enneagram Type 3. Next is Sisters by Kelly Coates Gilbert. This one is about three sisters who all come back to their kind of hometown in Idaho because one of the husbands has died. All three have different things going on. Again, this one is 3 stars. I've read better. Next was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, and that is a 5-star. It was so festive, so great. Really, really enjoyed Pumpkinheads. Perfect for this time of year. Then I read When You Disappeared by John Mars, and I gave this one 3 stars. And this is about a husband and wife, and one day the wife wakes up and her husband's gone without a trace. And so we follow her perspective and then also his perspective, so we know where he is the whole time. The book is told in now and then. So then is when he ran away, and that was, or when he disappeared. That was 25 years ago, and then now he's back. I gave that 3 stars because it was a thriller, I guess, but it was really just his messed up escapades, and we found out why, but it just was very slow and not what I wanted out of a John Mars book. Then I read Captivating, Unveiling the Mystery of a Woman's Soul by John and Stacey Eldridge, and I gave this one 3 stars. It had some good parts about how God sees women and how he created women and all of that, but it also was very judgy. Very, very judgy. I'll just kind of leave it there. Yeah. Then I read number one and two in the Heather Wells Mystery Series by Meg Cabot. The first one is Size 12 is not fat, and the second one is Size 14 is not fat either. This is a weird combination of romance, chick lit, and cozy mystery. So Heather Wells is this woman who, she was a former pop star, and now she works in a dorm, and people keep dying in the dorm. So the first 2 are just different cases, and I gave the first one 4 stars, and then the second one 3.5. It kind of started to feel the same. Then I read Class Act by Jerry Craft. This is the sequel to New Kid, which is a graphic novel all about this light-skinned black boy who goes from his home school in somewhere in the inner city of New York, and he goes to this predominantly white prestigious school, and it is his interactions trying to figure out where he belongs, because now he's found himself in a position where he doesn't really belong either place, and so he's trying to find his place, and he's trying to overcome the racism, systemic and outward, and it's just so good. And the second one continues the story. It also follows his friend Drew, who is the other one of the other 2 or 3 black kids in the school, and that was a 5-star. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It's so good. It's so good. It is about a couple who meet when they are younger, 19, 20. I don't know how old they were, but their respective partners are cheating on them with each other, if that makes sense. And so we follow them when they meet there, and they become friends, and then, of course, a romance follows. And then now they are married and struggling through fertility issues, and I just thought it was so good. She did such a good job of making you feel the butterflies of a new love, but also feel the angst and heartbreak of a dissolving marriage and of a marriage going through something really, really, really hard. And I just thought so good. 4.5 stars. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave that a strong 4 stars. This is about 2 sisters from very different worlds who don't know that they're sisters until their dad dies in a plane crash. It is told in verse, and upon talking to you guys, people have told me audiobook is the way to go, so I had it both physically and in audio, and I would say the audiobook is definitely the way to go. It is beautiful, very, very good. My first book in verse in a very long time, and I would highly recommend. Next, I read Daughters for a Time by Jennifer Hanford, and I gave that one 4 stars. It is about a couple who, again, is struggling with fertility, and they decide to adopt a little girl from China. There's a strong sister relationship in this book, and it was very good. I gave it 4 stars. Next is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and you guys, this one was so divisive. This was the book club pick for Book Sisters Book Club, which is a book club I run with Sarah from The Bookish Knitter and Bree from Falling for Romance on Instagram, and I gave this one a strong 4 stars, maybe even 4.5. This is about a woman who, her name is Lowen, and she is asked to complete a thriller series that is written by an author named Verity. Verity has been in a car wreck and now is kind of in a vegetative state, so she can't complete the series. So Verity's husband, Jeremy, says, hey, Lowen, will you finish the series? She says yes. So he says, okay, will you come to our house, go in her office, see the craziness that she has, because it's just a mess, and see if you can pick up some pieces to finish out the series. Well, when she gets there, things are a little sinister. Verity is a very deranged individual. She also finds a memoir or a autobiography that Verity had started about herself. And so she starts reading through that and learning more and more about Verity, and it's dark. There's a twist at the end that I really liked. Other people did not. I would love to know your thoughts if you read Verity and weren't able to make it to the live show. I will link the live show somewhere. It was so good. Next is White Bird by R.J. Palacio. So this is in the same world as his book Wonder. However, it is very, very different. It is a graphic novel about a woman or a young girl who is going through World War II. So the connection to Wonder is, I'm forgetting his name, but the bully in Wonder, it's the story of his grandmother. So it's years later, he's in high school and has to do a project where he interviews somebody about something, and so he interviews his grandma about her time in World War II. So it's her story. She was a Jewish girl in Nazi-occupied France, and we get to see the occupation happen, and then we get to see her being hidden by this boy who has polio, and their friendship was so good, and it was just so good. And this book made a political statement in the end that for me was very powerful. It could potentially turn people off, but it was just a very well-written, very good book. I gave it another 5-star. Then I read Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer, and this is a NetGalley book. I gave it 3.5 stars. It is a YA about a girl who thinks she's given this power where she can bestow instant karma on people. So if you do something and she sees it, something instantly good or bad will happen to you based on her presence. Now, that is a very, 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 very small part of this book. This book is completely contemporary, minus that little bit of magical realism. So it's a little bit of a departure, I think, from Marissa Meyer. And it was more about her. She has this kind of hate-to-love relationship. She's very type A. This guy's very type B. We find out more about both of them. They have to team up to do this project to try to save this sea life kind of rescue type place. And so they team up together. They learn more about each other, and it's a hate-to-love. And it is definitely more about that than the instant karma. It was cute. It was just it was 3.5. Better than your average, but nothing exceptional. Then I read The Last Post by Renee Carlino, and I gave that 3.5 stars. This is about a woman whose husband dies, and she keeps writing on his Facebook wall. So she either writes things like, remember when we did this, that, or the other, or today I'm doing this, kind of like just won't let go, won't move on. Then this guy that works, he's an architect that works in her dad's firm. They become friends, and a relationship forms, and so it's her figuring out how to move on from the grief of her deceased husband. It is definitely my least favorite Renee Carlino, but I still enjoyed it. Then I read Big Boned, which is number 3 in the Heather Wells mystery series by Meg Cabot, and this one was by far my least favorite. It's a 2.5 star. I really, truthfully didn't enjoy it. There's 2 more in the series, and I'm going to finish it out, but this number 3 was not good. Then I read No Ordinary Life by Suzanne Redman, and this one is about a woman who has 3 kids. The dad is a long-haul trucker or something, but he has very clearly left the family. He's not coming back. And they are living at the poverty line. They are not having any luck getting on their feet. So then one of the kids, the 4-year-old, I think she was, gets discovered, and she becomes an actress. And she gets cast on this huge show, and life becomes good. Until it doesn't. So we really get to see the darker side of Hollywood and kind of the consequences of being famous. And this really makes you think, would you want to be famous? For me, I can very clearly say no, I don't want that kind of publicity or notoriety or that like this little girl's worked to death. I gave that one 3 stars, and the reason was because it was really kind of drawn out. Then also another one of her kids becomes famous, and he was selectively mute before, and seemed to have a lot of like psychological issues, and then all of a sudden being on stage is what cures him all, and it's like very not discussed. And I feel like some of the topics that were broached were not carried out. I really just wanted more from it. So 3 stars, it was okay. Just nothing exceptional again for me. Then I read After the Night by Sandra Marie. This is about a couple who meets at a Halloween party. So, of course, they are in costume. They don't know who each other is. And it's like a reverse Cinderella story. So she knows that he's got this very definitive tattoo because they are messing around, and then something happens that makes her run. And so she wants to get back in touch with this guy, but she doesn't know who he is. So I gave it 3 stars because it's pretty obvious the whole time who it is. She knows, I think, that it's somebody she works with because it's a work party, and she works in an OB clinic. And so there's really not that many guys it could be. And like, yes, you can't see their tattoos when they're in scrubs or in whatever, but you know their build and their voice. And so that was kind of silly. And then also the conflict that made her run, as well as the conflict that they have once they're kind of a couple, both felt really silly. And so 3 stars, it was all right. I was looking for a Halloween-based romance, and it had a little bit of that. There was a haunted house scene that was kind of good, but overall just okay. Then I read number 1 and 2 in the Lakeshore Chronicles series by Susan Wiggs. So the first one is Summer at Willow Lake. The next one is The Winter Lodge. And I didn't care for either of them. I gave them both a very low 3 stars. So the first one is Summer at Willow Lake. This is about a girl who, her family owns a summer camp. And so she goes to the summer camp when she's young, and now when she's older, she's going back because she is like a house stager. She stages homes for sale or whatever. So she is going back to get the camp ready because her grandparents, who own the camp, are having a 50th anniversary party there. So the camp has not been functional for a while, so she's going to get it ready. Well, this guy that she had a relationship with when she was a kid in summer camp is the contractor that she has to work with. So it's that story. And that in and of itself sounds really cute. And she was a chunky kid. And so she talks a lot about her insecurities there. She's not anymore. And so she talks a lot about that. But my problem with this one was that it was just so wide reaching. Like they talk about everybody in the town, everybody within the families and all of that kind of stuff, and all of their stories, not just talking about them as they relate to the characters. It was talking about everything. So I feel like our main couple kind of got lost in all of that, and it's also over 500 pages. So I didn't love it, but I thought, well, maybe this is just a first book in the series. Like I need to continue on. Once it's like the ground is set, let's move on to book number 2. And unfortunately, book number 2 was not any better for me. It was about the half-sister of the girl from the first book, and she's a baker and has some issues going on, and it's her romance. And again, this one was over 400 pages long. Again, felt kind of unfocused, like there was just stuff everywhere. And I don't know, like Susan Wiggs is a very, very intelligent individual. She went to Harvard, she taught math, and I think just her writing style and the way my brain works don't compute. And so I can see why people love this series, and I can see why people love her books, but truthfully, I just think the writing style is not for me. So then I also read Reckoning by Jana De Leon. This is a Harlequin intrigue book, and this one was really fun. It was short, like 220 pages, something like that, and it's about a guy and a girl who are trying to find this missing girl. She's like 6 years old, and she is missing. So the possible culprits are her dad, because her parents are divorced. It could be a serial killer rapist, or not, a serial killer kidnapper, because there has been one of those that hasn't done anything for years and years, but it could be that. or it could be a witch. And so there is like this witch in the town. And so again, I was really going for that Halloween kind of witchy, spooky vibe. And it definitely provided that because it is set in the Louisiana like swamplands. So there's always that kind of eerie feeling of like what's lurking underneath. This is a trilogy. It's available on Audible Escape, which is going away today. Today is October 31st. So unfortunately it won't be there, but maybe it'll be on Audible Plus. Anyway, super cute, or not cute, super good. I was very entertained. Clearly I'm doing good on unique and descriptive words, but anyway, really enjoyed it. My only complaint was that it was just too short. Then I read Crazy Stupid Bromance by Liz K. Adams. This is the third in her Romance Book Club series, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I really, 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 really liked it. And this book, if I had book boyfriends, Noah from this book would be one for sure. So this is about the girl, I can't remember her name, but she's the girl who kind of led the Me Too movement that was presented in the second book. So she's the one that was assaulted by the restaurant owner, and she came forward, and then so did a bunch of other people that he had sexually abused. And so it's her. She has now opened a cat cafe, which is just so cute, that does like yoga and all that kind of stuff for, not just for, but including women who have suffered abuse. So you can come, and the yoga and stuff is very like respectful of anybody who has some touch issues or some, different kind of things like that. And it's kind of become a safe haven for abuse victims. So then she does not know her dad. So one day somebody comes and says, I'm your half sister. Your dad needs you because he is dying and needs a kidney transplant. And so she is dealing with that. She's got this best friend named Noah, who they have been friends for a really long time. They lean on each other for everything, but it's nothing romantic until it is. And I just loved how supportive he was, and just I love Friends to Lovers anyway, and their relationship was so great. And I loved her as I loved both of them as main characters. Overall, it was just very, very good. And then last was A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. And you guys, I gave this a low 3 stars. So this book is about two people. It's a YA about two people who meet when they're 5 years old. He moves in next door to her. They meet, become friends. It kind of evolves into more when they're like 8 or 9 years old, and her grandmother dies and leaves her this mason jar with 1,000 hearts and says, write all of the kisses that like make your heart stop in this jar, and keep 1,000 boy kisses. So they kiss for the first time then, and then they have this epic romance. He's this Norwegian god. She is this Miss Perfect, doesn't let anything bother her, lives life to the fullest, and then something happens that separates them mid-high school or early high school. Then he comes back and everything has changed. She has changed. He has changed. There's a whole bunch going on. You guys, this felt like chicken soup for the teenage soul, which is great for some, but like it just did not have the emotional impact for me. It was so cheesy. Did not like it at all. And I know I'm in the minority on that. So that is my 31 books for October. This video has been going on a while, so if you have read any of the books that I read, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on any of them. If you have read anything really great this month, let me know what it was. And that's it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.